Ayo. Welcome to Benchwarmers Awoso podcast, episode 37. 37. We are going to be talking about a lot of cups, a few leagues, a few deadline day stuff, a lot of magic going on each round. We're going to start, as we always start, in England, the last round. We had already cemented the league. This game was just kind of just what do we call it? Like steak knives, basically. Yeah, icing on the cake. I, for one, have had a great season, and I, for one, City 4-1 West Ham. We cooked this game, and we didn't have to cook this game. This result was crazy, but not just for the number, just like what happened in this game. Like I couldn't have written a better script. I don't even think AI could have written a better script for this game than what actually happened in it, where Bunny, Mary, Hempo were very good at the start. Didn't have to be like excessively aggressive. I know there was 4 long shot attempts from Guarino's West Ham. We just boxed them in completely. I thought we were going to be drunk by this point. Why were we not battered in this game? Like, we should have been getting battered by Asai and IYKYK, but we were just an absolute masterclass in defense in that first half, where, I mean, it didn't really take long for the iconic moments to start as well. So Hempo's long shot was saved. We got a corner. It was aimed at Iman Bene. Why not? Why not cross it to the shortest player we have in our team? That's okay. But it didn't really fall that well for her, but the scramble fell to Jade Rose. Jade Rose, who hadn't scored for City yet. That was her first goal in the last game week of the season. All the players got around her, knew the drill. Magical moment to just stamp your authority already. If you were going to even be criticized for Jade Rose's contributions to this season, the only criticism would be that she hadn't been on the score sheet yet, and it was good to get in the last moment. It didn't take much longer when Bene again starts with the ball, her presence on the right. Honestly, Caspi, like, she might have to watch out. Like, seriously, Bene is so good. She found Fagino. Fagino plays that ball of a ball of the century again. That low, like the balls that start fast and then just slow down at the perfect time for the striker to finish. And who is there at the back post but Bunny Khadija Shaw? She just shoots, scores, looks at the crowd, and goes, love me, basically love me. That's how good I am. Her 20th goal of the season, the celly, the stare. She knows what she means to us. I mean, we'll talk about the parade at the end where, I mean, all the fans were just chanting, we don't want her to leave. I mean, I don't want her to leave either, but if she has to go and we don't have a choice, like, the game is the game. No amount of chanting is going to change the fact that we're not offering her what she's worth, sadly. But yeah, look, the second half, that's when we went into halftime. Then we took the pints, we took the beers out, and because the second half we were drunk, we looked so shoddy.
The second half. He scored in the second half.
No. I agree. But our defensive work in the second half was an absolute disaster. Yeah. Like, we looked so unco in the second half. Like, the fact that we made Guarino ball look like, I don't know, like there was a moment when they scored, when Puebl got on the end of that Morgan cross, that counter attack. It looked like we were playing against Brighton. Like, they're not Brighton in any way. But it took that goal to basically wake us up. We played a lot better. We kept the ball. We didn't want to lose this game at all. And then we had Yui playing her line-breaking passes, finds Carolyn. Carolyn misses, right? But Sergeant Coombsy, when Kerr whipped it to Bunny, who's in a 1v2, that's the thing that she does the best. That's the thing that I don't think we're going to be able to replace, is that when you're in a 1v2 and the one is Bunny, the one wins, right? It's crazy how good she is. She'll lose the hit out, but force a terrible clearance, falls to Laura Coombs, who hits this half volley off balance, contested, looping it past Semic into the goal, the farewell goal, written in folklore, unbelievable, amazing finish to end it 4-1. We were insane. I mean, the whole day after, with the chanting, literally Yui couldn't even speak. Everyone was just chanting for Yui Hasegawa the whole time. Grace Clinton saying, I think I made the right decision. Like, that's what I need. The limbs were there. Even Moonbeam Barclays, Caspi was amazing. Like, everyone was getting around every single player, the importance of every moment. You're watching Sydney Lohmann doing handstands on the stage, like holding like a very good handstand, by the way, but just absolute limbs, everyone having the best time, and so they should. They absolutely rocked out this season. This is the kind of ending I wanted, by the way. Like, I wanted you to win. I wanted you to put the pressure on us. We would have won this game like 6-0, but nah, respect to the girls who are just unbelievable yet again.
I love the way that you finish off this season, because I think that it encapsulated so much of what your season was about. It was about scoring goals. It was about what we really seen from the city of old, which is attacking, like that football that you just love to watch is the football that has gotten you success this season. Yeah. And in a way, talking as mostly as a Chelsea hater, but also just as a neutral as well, to see the scenes at the end, to see Bunny, to see these players who have done the yards or who've come in and won their first championship, to me, it goes to show that all the years that we've watched Chelsea win and we've suffered as fans of our own respective clubs, we've come complacent at the fact that, it's going to be another season and Chelsea's going to win. But to see another team winning it, to see the passion, to see everything about it, I thought, if anything, that is the best part of the season, because not only is it Chelsea losing, which is in and of itself, it's fantastic, but it's the fact that it's a team that didn't expect to go into the season by any means winning it, and to do it in such an emphatic way on the last day was fantastic.
I mean, I just love, I just think of the importance of every single player involved in that season, and I think the fact that, like, the crowd that was there for, like, the I don't know, what do you call it, that, like, meeting, there's like an award ceremony, I guess it's a ceremony, like a trophy ceremony where everyone gets their medal and everyone, like, raises the trophy, right, that whole thing, the respect that they had for every individual, obviously Yui, who plays, like, stupid amounts of minutes, but all the way to Lohmann, who you could argue has probably not had the season she expected to have, was amazing. Coffee, obviously not the way she wanted to end the season in terms of being injured in that way, and Viv as well, also managing her own stuff. Like, that's like that it doesn't matter that everyone was a part of the process. I mean, I speak about Iman Bene every fucking podcast, but, like, the amount of points individually she is responsible for, and the position where the biggest win, the one loss that Arsenal copped is basically Iman Bene getting exactly, and she has done things off the bench that are remarkable. Like, I just think that Viola Berman was an amazing young player of the year, and she's been good as a replacement for Bjorn. But again, the idea is that probably Chelsea want to be good enough next year that Viola Berman doesn't start for Chelsea, in my opinion. Like, they want to be Germa and Bjorn, and then whoever they play at left back, which is probably Berman at this point, unless they get a new left back, and I don't know why they're not going after McCabe. You might as well. And then Carpenter on the right. Like, they will have a team that's good enough that ices Viola Berman out of it. That's the whole point, is that's how good you want to be. But, like, Iman Bene is making a case for taking over Caspi in the ways that she can provide a semblance of physical presence that honestly not a lot of other players can in the league. Like, her she is just as fast as any winger that comes up against her. Like, I think she gives Alyssa Thompson a run. I think she gives Liv Smith a run in that physical presence. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I'd, like, put her yet. She needs to put in the yards and the work and the consistency. And also, I want to see her play European ball. Like, I want to see her play at the top level.
That's the question I had was, does she come in for Europe, or is it Caspi for Europe? Because I don't think that Caspi can play 40 games a season.
Well, I know. Yeah, no, I don't think Caspi can, and I think it will depend on who we play. If we're playing against Rosengard or St. Paulson or whoever it is, like Wrexham, if they make it through their qualifications and stuff, like they qualified for the qualification rounds. If they make it through and we have to play Wrexham, then I'd love Iman Bene to play against them. But if we're playing against Barcelona, yes, I want Caspi there, alive and direct, right? Like, that you got to put the seasoned veteran in and then bring on Bene for the last 10, 15 minutes, and that's what we have to do. And if she proves herself, then we know who to do. I mean, the player that you even question is Lazelle, right? Lazelle has a potential to be a part of the project project next year after the long-term injury. You have Pryor who's coming back. You have Mary who's just come back and is starting to do things. But there is a lot to talk about with Europe. We'll talk about it more in the off-season, but we will go to the next game. It is Chelsea United 1-0 Sam Kerr. Bang. Next game. Nah, seriously, Sam Kerr, what an ending. That is how you end your career at Chelsea. I mean, look, it was written in the stars, a million miles away, and then the volley was crazy. Oh my God. Like, that's prime Sam Kerr, by the way, that strike. The ball in is beautiful as well. I believe that's Lauren James as well. Classic. These two just turn up when it doesn't matter. Love them both. But look, she was really good. I mean, compared to United, who were just, oh my God, they're so slow, so high, and the targets, they have to manufacture their own power. The crossing was horrendously bad. Like Jess Park's crosses that go to the back post that are so slow. Like, how is Schuler supposed to do anything with that? Like, you have to think about how hard we drill the ball in for Bunny Shaw. Think about how hard you drill the ball in for Lessie and Stenius. You can't manufacture power off these looping crosses. But I don't know. I think Van Gaheim probably should have scored that goal. She got there ahead of, I believe, I forgot who it was. It was ahead of Berman, I believe. But she should have scored that goal. That was probably the biggest moment. But I don't know why Sonia didn't celebrate when Sam Kerr scored. That was a weird moment. Where she was just like, oh, 1-0. All right, next goal.
She's not celebrating.
They've
only won one trophy.
But so what? Like, there needs to be an element of respect for the greatest forward that Chelsea have had ever. Like, that's the part where you know where you are on the ladder. You know where you're going to finish. Accept that. Now, enjoy the individual moment for your greatest forward, your greatest server. She could have left. She could have said, you know what? You aren't playing me. I'm not playing very well. Like, Sam Kerr's not one that just, like, sticks it out with the manager just because, like, things aren't going her way. She knows it'll be good at some point. She worked with you. You guys worked very well together at the back end of this season. Sam Kerr's had an amazing back end to this season, but ultimately, Millie Bright and Kerr got honoured at the start of the game, and it was well-deserved, and Kerr ends her career, as she always does, leaving a club as the top goal scorer.
I think Manchester United came into this game particularly undercooked. I did not find that starting lineup to be anywhere near the best. I understand that there's injuries. I understand that there's particular players that you want to bet in and give minutes to. I'm specifically talking about Alatoon, but they look incredibly tired, incredibly behind the system and the type of play that Manchester United have been doing for a majority of the season. We may agree to the fact that Manchester United have not had an objectively good season, but their style of play, at least it's there. At least it's baked and we can see it, and they try and do it every week. In this game, there was a mixture of different types of football. I thought, and we both said, that Miyazawa and Olme, when they came back together, would be like a force in that midfield, but they got completely outdone by particularly Walsh, who had a fantastic game, and Huffert. And I find it to be not.
But that was class. That's just experience trumping youth right there.
I get that. But to me, we blame Mark Skinner for a lot of things, and we talk about how the starting lineup isn't great, the style of football is progressive, but it's about the players. This is your final match, and I know I said in the previous pod, I think it would be a falsity if they went into this game won and then it had their heads held high after the season. But you're going into the last game and you look slow and lethargic because there's no impetus to win this game. It was very much like, we're going to sit here, we're going to play a style of football that is not going to, progress and is not going to set us up for next season. We're just going to fall back on the habits and the bad habits of the season that we just failed in, really.
I mean, yeah, and with Schuler there, Mallard, who's I still think is not a pseudo nine. I mean, we will talk eventually about the rumours and transfers and who that Manchester United are specifically after, or who they've been rumoured to go after, and I think that will potentially help what they're going for as a project, as the ability to develop a future and trying to garner the fan base specifically. But I still think that long shots from Park and Mallard and Zigiotti Olme are a finite resource, and you need more clear-cut chances, direct chances in the goal, and nothing is going to test Hannah Hampton, who was very busy to collect her 7th clean sheet and her Golden Glove at the end of this game. Again, we talk about the fact that Chelsea are third. Hannah Hampton has had to deal with a myriad of injuries and has managed to produce some spectacular saves in the process of maintaining those respective clean sheets. I think based on the expectation, this is where she's kind of met her expectation. I can't really remember an excessive moment where it's her fault specifically for a game being lost, but I can remember games where she is responsible for them winning and saving chances and making ridiculous diving saves for both club and country.
I agree, but I think that there's something about the Chelsea ethos and maybe even the mentality around not aspiring for more. And I think that in this season, we've seen players reach their limit, particularly someone like Ali Carpenter, who came into this season, and her expectations were that of Lyon, right? And when she reached those expectations, we were like, fantastic, great. But why isn't there more? Why aren't they breaking the ceiling? This is a Chelsea team that is known for doing the unexpectable, or like the thing that we never would expect, right? They had a domestic treble last season. They go into this season and it's just complacency. They lose the same way every time that they lose because they're not changing and they're not adapting. And I think that's the biggest struggle for Chelsea.
Well, we'll have to see it. We'll have to see it when we believe it. And I believe with the clientele that they're losing, they will have to adapt. And if Ramirez is being linked to leaving, I don't even know if she's alive anymore because they don't talk about her. Like, it's actually ridiculous. What, Myra Ramirez?
Yeah, did she not play?
Like, she played what, like 5 minutes? Was that her first 5 minutes of the season? Or
yeah, she put on right at the end. I don't know how many minutes were added.
Okay, so she probably got her first 5 minutes of the season because she hasn't played all year. And then Kerr, who is leaving, but Myra Ramirez has previously been linked to Real Madrid. So if they both leave, they're going to be forced to make changes. And I mean, if it's Bunny Shaw, then they have a clear-cut game plan and they have a clear-cut expectation of what is expected of a Chelsea, the same way that they're used to dealing with Europe. They know they have players and veterans that have dealt with Europe for years. It's not like us where we're going to have to manage Europe and the WSL. I don't expect us to be able to manage it in a way that's conducive to not more injuries, and then we'll need better depth, and we won't be like viable to lose a lot of players that we have because ultimately we need that depth. And there was arguments at points in this season where we're looking at our bench and we're like, okay, actually we're not built for Europe at this point. So we will need to invest in players that make sure that we can play Europe in comparison to Chelsea that have players on the bench that are built for Europe in that way. But we will move to another team that's built for Europe and has shown that this season, finishing off with style, beating Liverpool. I don't like that you conceded, but ultimately that was a bit silly. And also Falk was just average this game. You made Falk look very average this game. I think
it was so disappointing. You know, a pro Falk household had to watch her get megged and dunked on a ridiculous angle.
So is that just Alessia Ora, that moment where she megs her?
Yeah, I guess it was Alessia Ora, but also like the same movement that we've seen Stina do like 5 times this season, which is like either the fake or even the potentially.
It's honestly head. Just like it's the Billie Jean TikTok where Giroud turns into Stenius. Like, it's the two of them just faking headers for Arsenal for the last decade. Like, that's what I've been watching. It's ridiculous.
The fear of Stina and the fear of that, it unnerves goalkeepers.
It's unbelievable.
This game to me I was particularly impressed by that first half. I thought that first half was the best of Arsenal. The second half was probably the worst of this season's Arsenal. But in terms of the first half, we were clearly the better side. We clearly, like we did for the past 2 games, were exploiting the weaknesses of a Liverpool team that were obviously tired. You could just tell that they were exhausted from their FA Cup match. But to me, it was more so to do with the fact that Arsenal looked like this was a rejuvenated side, a side that was going into the last match the way that they want to start next season. And I think that that's really impressive for a team they had to win, but we didn't have to do it in this way.
But you weren't even walking the ball in the net this game. Yeah. You were trying the most ridiculous angles and ridiculous shots. Like Emily Fox tried that ridiculous shot of in the first, like the early stages of the game, and I was like, okay, well, that's a bit audacious. And then Caldente's goal is from the most ridiculous angle, and I'm like, where was this earlier in the season? When was Caldente taking on the killer instinct?
Where were our set pieces earlier this season?
Yeah, exactly. The third goal, Russo's goal that Pelova played across, like. It's like she could have just passed it in the goal, low driven down. She's put it top bins, no safety. Like, this Arsenal of like asking the questions of like low percentage chance creation. It doesn't feel very Renee. I don't know. This game didn't feel very
I actually
Renee.
think it feels very Renee, but I think it feels Renee in the new manager bounce Renee. The games were winning 5-0, 6-0
What,
because
last season maybe?
yeah, last
Yeah.
season because we were winning games quite comprehensively until we decided to dedicate ourselves to the Champions League
Of course.
because of the fact that we have the players to do it. I dislike this theory or this particular rhetoric where we're like, okay, let's all play to each player's strengths. So we're going to play X football and Y football. No, like we have a system here, and that
Yeah.
system naturally complements players, or like we've seen this season, they have had to change and had to fit within the system. It's
Yeah, but
worked
there are
well
players that are
sometimes,
there are gonna be players that leave that system, and
and
ultimately the system
unfortunately,
will have to change.
I don't agree. I think that the players coming in are actually better suited than the players leaving, bar McCabe
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
Ben, because
Yeah.
Laia Kadina, Victoria Pelova, they're all either too slow or they haven't actually picked up on that momentum building from centre back up forward. And I'm talking Kadina in this case, but Victoria Pelova way too slow in midfield. We're going to be bringing in moments players, big moments players, but more so we're going to be bringing in, especially with Onya Battier, someone who's just so versatile in that flank slash
You're
fullback
bringing in
position.
two of the biggest long shot merchants I've ever
That's
seen in my
true. That's
entire
true.
life. Stanway, I can't wait. I can't wait for playing when you're playing against Arsenal and it's Caldente, Ona Battier, Stanway, and Russo all at the edge of the box waiting for the ball
True.
to launch it from 18 to 24 yards. It's going to be so annoying. It's just going to, you know what it's going to be? We'll go what like me, Chelsea or City will go up 1-0 against Arsenal. One of them will get a red card, and you're just going to watch us shell in 8 at the back, and you're going to watch like an absolute like fitness drill of these five girls taking pot shots for 85 minutes. It's going to be hilarious. Or it'll happen against Villa or something. Like Villa will score early,
Which is
and
very
then
Arsenal.
and then you'll just sit and you'll have to sit in their box or outside their box and just see what happens in terms of launching long shots. And eventually one will go in. But obviously losing McCabe as someone who can ping one, and then Beth with that left foot curler is interesting. But I mean, you still need to work on set pieces. I cannot
100%.
believe you let Zara Shaw score. You let the FA Cup aura get against you.
I'm gonna say that she deserved it. It was at the cop end. She deserved it. She's a kid. I'm not gonna take it. We won the game. I'm
No,
taking
no,
no menace
100%.
from it. I'm
Yeah.
upset that we lost the half,
No,
but
Gazball
like,
has a lot of
yeah,
work to do. A lot of
yeah,
signs in that last patch of the season, especially the turn of the year, but ultimately finishing 11th, right? So and or narrowly avoiding. I mean, not narrowly. They were 8 points ahead of Leicester, but ultimately, like it took the bounce of this. I reckon if you just took the 2026 period, not the 25, and checked the table, I reckon they would be about mid-table, probably in the 7th or 8th spot rather than the 11th spot where they were absolutely last and they were below Leicester at many points in the first half of the season. So, yeah, look, it's the men's side, 3 of the last 5 seasons second. I mean, Arsenal, I mean, it does all work out at some point. It does. It does
if I
happen.
can
Yeah.
if I can take anything from our men's team winning the Premier League, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say like I have faith. I mean, I've always had faith. If you listen to the
Yeah.
podcast, I'm thinking quadruple, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I 100% believe in the project,
But
and I
now
think
you
that
want the WSL. So now that
yeah, of course,
the
I've
women
always
have the
wanted the
women have won
WSL.
in Europe, the men
Yeah.
have just won in England. Now
Mm.
you want the women to win in England, and you want the men to win in
Men to
Europe.
win the champion.
Correct?
That
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
That's what happens is you go through the natural cycles. I mean,
Mm.
I'm here for the long haul. I'm waiting for City to absolutely crumble to pieces in the
Mm.
menso and then build back up
So
and
this is your
rise from
like
the
what 12,
ashes.
13 era
Oh, yeah,
City.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This is the we get what we get and we don't complain.
Mm.
Domestic double, the post Pep era, we're gonna have to accept some hard truths. Like now it's gonna show who the real fans are. That's the real
True.
question. Yeah.
100%. True.
And the women, look, I'm here for the ride as well. I'm here for the Eglerts ride. I'm here for Carolyn turning into the next martyr, in my opinion. I mean, Carolyn
Sure.
is the player that I will shield. That is the player that if she wants to win the Ballon d'Or, It's right there. It's actually right there. Honestly,
He's
like,
the aesthetic
yeah,
and the type of player
yeah,
she can
exactly.
offer.
Like that's what I mean is that it's not just about the ability which he does have. It's about the fact that she can run. I think she could be able to run games in Europe at the top level, and then that's what creates the conversation. And then potentially, I mean, the way you're bullish about Brazil at the 27 World Cup, we'll talk about that when we get there. But if Brazil are going to do anything at the World Cup, we've seen what Caroline does for Brazil and how the fans will get behind her. But we will go to LCL Villa, a game where Villa basically did everything we said last week, which was disappoint and ensure that LCL continue their pretty impressive first season. Despite the first goal that Villa scored showed why LCL won, which is the fact that Lynn Vilms's deflected strike that somehow just rolled into the goal. I don't really know how. I mean, good play with Jenna Niswanger, lucky as hell, deflecting off Kennedy and Kumagai. Like there was no jeopardy or fear that they were going to score again. Like if you're going to concede this like Chariots of Fire-esque goal, like you just know that they're not going to score again. They're just going to try and lock up this game. And yes, they tried to weather the storm. Yes, Ellie Roebuck is a very good shot stopper in her own right when she's on. But eventually you will concede. And eventually the star, not the stars, but the generals at LCL will turn up when it matters. And ultimately, it was DVD who poked in her second goal of the year in the books once again. This goal was a little bit more important, in my opinion, than the goal where she had her instant return. But Izzy Goodwin had some moments. Godfrey had some moments. Way too much freedom at the start. And then, obviously, Godfrey at the end. I mean, we can talk about the Jenna Niswanger one-on-one chance. Leggy, I'm sure that was a heartbreaker to watch. That could have been the moment. Jenna Buhl in live in the flesh. Jenny Henry right there when
Give
she
her a
went.
Lifetime contract. If you got that in, build the statue.
I can't believe how good Lete was to slide her over to the right. But yeah, light work for Freya Godfrey, who got onto that ball from Nikita Paris in added time, right-footed, no chance for Roebuck. Like again, if she does this more, like Godfrey's shelf life at LCL is not very long. I think also, I'm not even talking on the pitch. Off the pitch, the way she speaks, the way she talks, her interviews, her PR, like she is she is a player that if she played for a top four club, she's selling shirts, she's selling sponsorship. She's like a genuine pick for England, despite the fact she's not in a top three WSL side.
It reminds me a lot of Alessia Russo at Manchester United. It is just a player in waiting, waiting to get that big break, waiting to get that big trophy or that big move. Like to me, it's about the fact, mostly from an Arsenal perspective, that we didn't believe in her. To put her on loan rather than to sell her was a really stupid decision, probably our stupidest, because she offered so much, a Haaland talent, and doing it for a side that, to be honest with you, on that left-hand side, they have no one. They have Pattinson in the fullback, they have Kumajai basically running that left-hand side of the midfield, and then they just have Godfrey, and she does it, and the way that she does it is class, and it's also very Arsenal. It's very annoying to look at.
I mean, I always think of it like she's a bit more Maverick. She's a bit more like 2020, like she's 2009 Barclays ball kind of. Like she has the luxury and freedom to do whatever she wants. Like she can score. Yes, she runs on goal a lot and she darts forward and does the one-on-one. I've seen her put the ball top bins from that right side with her left foot opening up. There is a bit of Beth Mead in her, but I actually think like the comparison is the like pseudo lanky, like technical brilliance. It is the Eula, like she is a few steps behind Eula Brand. She's a few steps behind Cerci, but she is that archetype of player, right? And I think, look, I see her in a United shirt, sadly. That's what I see her in.
Everyone can be in a United shirt.
No, but someone who can score, from the right side.
But
they don't have a right winger. They don't have a right winger.
Vengerheim is basically that.
No, but you know she's not a right winger. In Sweden, she was not playing right wing. She was up front, dead center. She was doing everything for that Hammarby side, and then she got picked up, and they don't have space in the nine because Turlin was there, who's now leaving, and Ballard was on form, and Jess Park was on the right. Yeah, I know this pseudo on the right. What a load of shit. Jess Park is going to play in the 10 next year. Jess Park will be in the 10, and I mean, if they're going to play Tooney and Park, good luck in their midfield. Good luck trying to break the lines of a player like Ona Battier at left back. Good luck trying to break down Ona Battier on that left side. Like, it just doesn't work to play a player who's not quick. Like, Jess Park is not a fast footballer. She's very technically gifted. She beats you with combinations. And Ella Toon is not a winger either, but Ella Toon can play in the 10, or Park can play in the 10. If you play her on the right, you're losing the pace. You're losing the physicality.
I just don't think that they played a 10. I think that they stick with the 4-4-2 and they play the two up front, and then they have a bank of four,
but then they have. So you're saying the 4 in the middle is just this diamond ultimately that rotates, and then again when they play against a bigger side than them, other than Arsenal, where no one scores and no one enjoys it, and it's the most boring game that we ever watch. The others just like you're just easy to break them down because they're so jammed in the center. You just play it wide, and they can't handle the physical pressure. But I don't know. LCL good end to the season for them. They finished top half, right? Yeah. Like, this is very impressive for them. The most points for a team that's newly promoted. What do you expect? They have the money to do so, and ultimately I think they will keep going. I mean, they're still rumored that they have the biggest, the largest, most extortionate contract put on the table for the best player in the world. So I mean, if they do get her in this alternate reality that I don't want to live in, like, the only direction, the only trajectory is up for a Kang project.
Well, I guess both teams here have different expectations, and I guess both teams here have also let down those expectations. And I think LCL's expectations, they can like present themselves as being, a newly introduced side, but they've never had no newly introduced side has had the budget of them, the facilities of them, and the quality of players that they have. So that to me is a null and void argument. Villa, on the other hand, this is a horrendous season for them. I mean, the worst season since 21-22. We thought that this was going to be like what you just said about LCL, a team that was always going to just rise. And unfortunately, they've plateaued, and in this case, they've actually gone down. And that's mostly to do with I believe, to do with the fact that the players are not buying into the system, and that they have the quality there to do it. It's just that system and playing style are not aligning with these players, and then they get broken down, and the way that they concede goals particularly has put them in a position where they have the third lowest goal difference, and like minus 20.
Horrendous. I mean, they copped goals on goals on goals. They weren't able to like make sure that it's a 2-0 loss or a 2-1 loss. They just would throw the kitchen sink, and then it's not just one goal, it's 2 goals. They keep going. There needs to be abilities to set up shop, because if you're going to compete, goal difference matters at the end of the day. It does. And it does actually matter at some point. And ultimately, your goal difference is only going to get worse if you lose your best player. And I mean, we can move to the fact that, Kirsty Hansen has been linked with Tottenham, and Tottenham have ended the season better than Villa have. And they ended up putting 2 past Brighton. This is an interesting game. This is probably the most interesting game bar the big 3 games, because ultimately Brighton not being able to weather the storm pre-FA Cup is quite interesting. I mean, obviously Ndosia wasn't playing and Bagley was in goal.
One of their best defensive players as well. Charlie Rule was out.
Charlie, exactly, injured, and she might not play the final as well. So we don't actually know what's going to happen there. And I mean, Frank Kirby was okay, but dealt with by a very again a midfield that has been impressive all season. Not from a sense of like, again, they're not competing, they're not a top 4 side, but they are objectively above the pack. They are the top of the pack, right? And a lot of, like, if we made a team that was just the pack WSL sides, get rid of the big 4, there would be more Tottenham than any other team, in my opinion. And I think that's just because, or pound for pound, like I think there would be more Tottenham. I just think there would. Like, I think there are players that obviously get in, the Fran Kirbys and the Seikis and the Godfreys. Like, they do get in.
I think that there's one, and that's it. And I think it's Koga.
Interesting. I wowould argue that Olivia Holt would get in there very easily, and Holt was pretty spectacular in this game, doing things on both sides of the court. But ultimately, it was Holt who smashed it past Bagley. It was. I mean, these clearances from Brighton were quite interesting. Ultimately, it's a weird game. I just feel like Kopp also wasn't great. I feel like Maddie Haley did score. It was that loose ball, and it spilled Seika's low strike from the right. Like, there was just so many weird, like, players underperforming. I don't think really any player bar Koga really played to the level that they could. It's sad. I have to do my anti Maisie Simons PR after I gave her all the praises last week, right? So her and Kanko did that poor clearance. So the fact that Holt could lash home the leveler for her 8th goal of the season with I mean, like this is just what happens. Like these players that are very good, but they do have a clanger in them. And then the big clanger of the game was when Bagley ran out of goal, raced out of her area. Just clear it to the right, clear it out. You win. You tie the game up. You end the season on a high. You're still unbeaten. You go into the FA Cup final with nothing to lose and unbeaten for so long. And they kicked it right into the player, like right into Koga. Like it's just not a great clearance in any way. And then Koga just pings that ball from distance. It's probably the most poetic way to end the season for Tottenham, with probably their most consistent player winning them 3 points, cementing them in the position that they've probably been in the whole season, which is 5th. Yeah, like that's where they are. They are perennially 5th. Like it's if Arsenal is 2nd, Tottenham is 5th, and the rest is history. But yeah, they were pretty. I mean, they were pretty good in this last patch of the season. Tottenham. I think you got to have to respect the fact that regardless of their patchiness and their ability to get lil broed by the top 4, they ended that unbeaten run from Brighton, and they did it in style with 6 games unbeaten in a row.
I find it fascinating. Spurs will sandwich terrible results with performances that will get them 5th. And I think that that's what Martin Ho has been relying on, is the games against the Brightons, against the Villas, the teams around them, they're winning. And that's the biggest improvement from a team that finished second last season with a side that was not wholly different from this one. And Martin Ho didn't do a complete uphaul, right? Like this is not a new team, but it's a team rejuvenated. It's a team that's been revitalized under the system, and it's worked for their betterment. And I think that Brighton and Spurs can probably hold their head up high coming out of the season, because they necessarily haven't exceeded expectations. I think Tottenham are the team that have most exceeded expectations, but they've leveled up in a way that shows that the mid-table teams are still there and they're still competing against the likes of a Manchester United and a Chelsea, who are finishing 3rd and 4th. And I think that that's the best thing that you can have and the best outcome for a league that for a long time we were saying is only a top 4 league, and the rest of the team just kind of, scrounge around for the dropped points of these sides. But I think that this game in particular was like a game that people probably would have missed, but I implore them to watch the highlights, because it was a genuinely good game.
Speaking of genuinely would have missed, we're going to go with, sometimes I get a good feeling. Phelan Ball is back. 1-0 to the Phelan show is here again. I mean, against Leicester, I kind of expect more than 1-0, but I'm not going to ask.
And a last-minute
goal
that as well. Crazy.
But also Leicester were very good in this game. Leicester actually played quite well in this game and forced Courtney Brosnan to be the best player on the park. Yeah. Like, she was absolutely spectacular. Specifically the Shannon O'Brien one with that strike from 8 yards out. I do not know how Brosnan saves that. Hence, this whole game basically sums up why the Golden Glove is the silliest award out of all of them, because clean sheets shouldn't be the only stat that matters. Like, watch this season. You can argue Ndosia. You can argue Tullis Joyce for the first half of the season. You can argue Yama, and you can definitely argue Courtney Brosnan in terms of saves per 90 as a whole. She makes ridiculous amounts of saves for Everton, because Everton cop shots, but she's able to manage them. I watch games. I actually look out for Courtney Brosnan to make an error, but sometimes the goal is just so good and there's nothing she can do about it. I mean, I think Janina Leipzig, before she got injured, was in contention for goalkeeper of the season, but I think there is one stuck far and away, and when we do our WSL team of the season, which will probably likely be next week, me and Leggy, you'll get to see Leggy and I scream at each other, which we are so excited to do. But ultimately, I just think Golden Glove doesn't really take into account the fact that Courtney Brosnan was marvelous this game and has been marvelous all season, and has been making saves at a rate that no one else is for the entirety of the season, and that's really impressive. Making 4 saves a game every game is hard to do, and I understand that there are differences in levels of saves and degree of difficulty, but goals prevented is also a stat where she is ahead of Hannah Hampton. And Hannah Hampton is not a necessarily high goals prevented because Chelsea don't cop high percentage chances, and they've copped higher percentage chances this year than ever, but the person who actually won goals prevented this season is Yamashita, because Yamashita, when we caught one-on-one chances, she lives for it, right? So that's the difference. But, I mean, if we go back to this game, shout out to Wheeler, shout out to Maz Pacheco, shout out to Snoyce. Snoyce comes in, ends the league like they started the league. Lawley, that was actually a great moment from Lawley on the right side. Mace also making that that third channel run. I think Serena is absolutely licking her lips. Serena Wiegmann, by the way, if no one knows who I'm talking about there. Serena, not like Serena Leitzig, it's Janina Leitzig, but Serena Wiegmann probably saw Ruby Mace further forward and was like, wow, I have an idea here. But ultimately, Ruby Mace is showing her versatility in ways that is pissing me off, to be honest. Why? Just be a centre half. End the debate over who should be the centre half for the Lionesses. End the debate over who United should sign. Just be the best centre half that's English in the league when Leah Williamson retires, instead of, I don't know, I guess she wants to be further forward. No one goes into football wanting to be a centre half, I guess. But ultimately Ruby Mace can really do it all.
But I guess the thing is that Ruby Mace wasn't picked for England, and that's the biggest question. She wasn't picked for England. Everton had their whole thing to say about it. They tweeted about it. They called out Serena Wiegmann, which in and of itself is a crazy move.
That's so I
right?
rate that, though. I kind of rate that.
Putting your player under the bus is mental.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
No, but Ruby Mace, I mean, she has been exceptional this season. I think similar to Brosnan, relative to the fact that their team is not necessarily the greatest defensively. And so maybe she doesn't get the plaudits that she deserves. I've said this before. I think Ruby Mace would be the biggest buy for any team that needs a centre back, because I think that she's able to lift to a level of, yes, Champions League football, of playing 30 games a season. I think that that's very plausible for her. But that Lionesses pick, not getting it and having players ahead of her that haven't been getting minutes, who are very injury prone and not been playing, is mostly to do with Serena's favoritism and also her ability to have and keep players in the system. And she doesn't really like introducing people, and that's pretty obvious. But yeah, Ruby Mace is the get, I think, as an intra-club move for any team this season. Next season.
Amazing. I think she'll be amazing for whoever she goes to. I'll take her. You'll take her. Yeah. Everyone will say, I mean, Chelsea need her. There will be players that are needed, and whoever goes after her is doing the right thing ultimately. But that is all we have for the WSL. We are going to Vamos to Spain. No Liga F this week, but the Copa de la Reina final. Atleti, their time to redeem themselves, their time to put pressure on Barcelona. And what did they do? They didn't. They just made Barcelona look how Barcelona usually do. And this is also the reason why, I mean, we were talking about it in part one, you saying Pina won't start. The reason I think Pina will start is because I looked at the lineup in this game and I went, Romeo is going to play this lineup for the final. And she set Pina on the left. She put Salma on the right. Salma was playing on the other side, playing the Caro role. And Salma was more than fine. And Pina was more than fine. And Ewa is always great. But also, I mean, Ewa, it wasn't Ewa's most amazing game, but ultimately the chances kept flowing. The left side, Pina was trying to find Salma. Salma was trying to find Pina. I think the fact that they switched so much and switch so many sides. I was asking those questions last week. I was like, who play on the left, who play on the right? Who cares? Just play them on the wings. You don't need to risk it. Is it Caro? Is it not Caro? Just play the play the best player that's been in the league and play your best winger in the Champions League for the last 3 games. Salma has just been incredible the last this last month and a half. It's been insane. But I'll be honest, the first 0 to 20 was a lot of hit and hope from owner Battier. I mean, look, it's weird angled chances that you don't expect from clearly Barca just watching Arsenal play in that against Liverpool and deciding this is how we want to play. And they weren't really testing Gallardo. Gallardo, a keeper that is very much respected by the Liga F mob. But it was the 22nd minute. And this is when the game ends. I've dubbed the new triple P. So we have an APA, but I'm talking the triple P is Payet, Putellas, and Pina. Yeah, these three together. I don't know how they did this, but basically they did a 3v8 rondo and won as as the 8 athletic players, a defensive unit of 4 and 4 got beaten by them. So it starts with obviously Putellas winning her 50-50, threads this outside of the foot, lofted, sharp, nothing ball to Payet, who backheels it back to Putellas. Putellas actually gets collected and goes down after like very soft contact from the defender. But Pina is the one who runs after it after Putellas falls. One touch, right foot, homing missile, low and hard into the side netting, like domestic assassin, absolutely killing every Spanish team there. Like I really think like Pina is just the scariest player in football when she's in flow state. I mean, she is so good. Like it's getting to a point where if she gets to a point that's so good, then everyone who crucified her for being too good in the video game will recognize that she actually is that good. Like finally they get the recognition. She gets the recognition. She is a hat trick in the Champions League final away from a Ballon d'Or. I'm telling you that right now. All she has to do is score a hat trick, because then it'll shut me up saying she's like a domestic assassin. I did say that she has been better in Europe last year than this year, so she's got some scores to settle in the Europe. So I'm hoping she gets the chance to show how good she is in that final. But I mean, once they score 1, 2 is usually on the cards, which is what I actually probably forgot to say in our Champions League final preview is that, like, I mean, there is a very real possibility that Barcelona just go out and try to murder Leon. But
that's what I said. That's
what but you did say 3-2. Like that is a close game, right? It's like close, it's not like 3-0 and exactly. But like I mean, like they could seriously do a 4-1. They could seriously do like this makes up for the 3-0 that happened in 18-19 in Hungary, right? 4-1s, yeah, exactly. The 3-1 in Hungary was crazy. But similar to Caro's ball last week, the second goal, Salma drives that dangerous, bouncy, audacious cross. And the two Barca forwards are goal side of their oppo. It's too easy for them against, I mean, a Herrera side that in a final wasn't just not good enough. But the ball is too far away for Payet to latch on. But you know who's there at the back post? She's always there. It's Esme. Fucking brutes again. I'm going to make a motherfucking XI at the end of this season. And it's just going to be players that I think are just like seriously, like I don't give an F football. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Clara Buhl she kind of is by world football standards, but ultimately, like people know how good she is. But I just think Brutes is just always on the sheet, and I actually pisses me off. I can't be asked. Like it's that cheeky improvised header. You just had to pass that ball in or use your body. Why is she kneeling down for a header like that? Put Gallardo off completely. They're 2-0 up. Salma gets her moment 5 minutes later, following the Pina corner, dealt with horribly at the near post. Esme first to react again, plays the low, slow ball, invites more chaos. Fiamma Benitez, oh my God, what a player all season. The biggest stinker of a clearance here. And then Gallardo, they both have a shocker here, and then Salma puts the pressure on it. Aicha Kamara and this athletic defender, I don't know what happened in this play, but something happened behind play where the athletic player genuinely is on the floor looking like she died. Like, I don't know what Kamara did to her, but it is so weird. I was so confused. I was like, who is this? Why are they still on the floor? I didn't see anything that Kamara did in the replay other than maybe just two tussling in the corner. It was just ridiculous. Pina has a long shot later that's dragged wide. Ona has a cross, and Amy say a cross that hits the crossbar, and then you have the Payet header that's well saved. Another Ona long shot that had Gallardo frozen that whacked into the crossbar. I think that crossbar is still vibrating, but it was Atleti who got the first and only of
Yeah.
the second half after they were 3-0 up. Jensen drived up the line. Owner gave her respect and let her cross the ball.
Yeah.
Who knows why? I don't know why. Why would you do that?
Sympathy.
Just play
Sympathy.
one-on-one. Yeah, maybe it is just mercy. It is like when you're little broing them, you're just like, oh, you can have a go. Who's the little athletic who can't score one goal more than us? Kamara, yeah, this is just inexperience. This is Aicha Kamara showing one little crack in a game that will get polished. I mean, I just assume the Barcelona players have like a ritual for when they make a mistake. It's like, you cannot do that again. But yeah, she makes a very poor clearance, falls to Boarisa, who absolutely rips that volley into the top left.
Can I just say, I hated the way that she celebrated. Not for the fact that the way that she went and celebrated like that she just equalized. Like, no, get the ball, go back. You're still 2 goals down, and
but
at
it's
that
such
point,
a
you
good
had the
goal.
momentum. It's a great goal. But, like,
do you think she's
one of
okay?
those-
Here's my question: do you think Boarisa has ever scored against Barcelona before?
I don't know, but I know that she scored goals like that before, and to me,
That's
should
true.
be like okay, we're gonna get the ball. I'm gonna now galvanize. We have to galvanize now. She's the most experienced player on the
What are you
park.
galvanizing? This is
fact that you
her
scored a goal
moment.
against
She scored.
Barcelona.
That's probably
You're
the
2
best
goals down.
moment of. That's probably the best goal of her entire career. I'm not even joking.
100%. In a 3-1
You don't think so?
loss. No way.
No,
way.
no. Technical brilliance, who the opposition is against, the moment in a Copa del Reina final, I think that would be up. It would be in the highlight reel. When she retires and we talk about the service to Woso that Boarisa has, I will mention this goal. Like, it is a fantastic goal. It is probably the best goal of the game as well. But Kika and Salma, more later chances, but ultimately easy win. 12th Copper trophy. I mean, take it away. Tell me why this team is just going to win everything until I die.
Well, I mean, it's their 5th domestic treble as of 25-26, and that's starting from 1920.
So you should just go for just give up the Arsenal thing. You can say quadruple and not sound stupid if you shill Barcelona.
True.
Like,
that's
that's
true,
the point.
but there's more fun in saying quadruple for a team that I'm like very like
That will never win the
not
quadruple.
going to win the quadruple.
Yeah. Never win the quadruple.
But I feel like this iteration of Barcelona, more so than the iterations of past that have won trebles and doubles, is by the fact that this is a team that is both they're recycling old talent. They have the Marta Torrejones, and they have the Mapis, they have the Patris, they have all those established players.
The Gemma Fonts.
But like Salma Pereira, like she's an established player at Barcelona, but she's come into this team now rejuvenated. She's a different version of the player that got injured previous to this. I mentioned it before. I think she's the biggest game changer for Barcelona right now, alongside Pina. And I think the fact that you can play Vicky Lopez in a Copa final and have her play 90 minutes is a testament to the fact that this is a team that is incredibly not even just like reliant on, but like incredibly what's the word? It's like they know the talent that they have.
Oh, they have X factors, but the X factors don't make the system. But it's also, again, like you could easily have Barcelona be a team of champions, not a champion team. This is a team of champions that are a champion team, right? And that's the difference, is that they have 5-star players across the park, like, and you're right, the whole age gap thing, the whole like change, like it is a changing of the guard that's coming. The Arenas and Muppies and Buteases will disappear. That's normal. That's what happens in football. But it is scary when, I don't know if you ask the average Woso fan how old Salma Paruello is. I reckon they would say 25, 26, when the answer is that she's 22. She was 3rd in the Ballon d'Or when she was 20 years old. Like, it is kind of insane that we have
19 she was
19 years old. I think she would, maybe she just turned 20 when it happened, basically. But that she was a 19-year-old balling out the best she ever has, and she's kind of gotten back to that level. We didn't really see it last year. Now she is back to it, but the reality of the situation is that we're nowhere near her prime. We're nowhere near Salma Paruello's prime in any metric of the term, and I think she only gets better from here. And Pierre Romeo is blessed, but is also making these players better. He is making Clara Serrajordi one of the midfielders in in the Barcelona mix. He is making Aisha Kamara a pivotal role in their league form. He is making Carla Julia look like the scariest footballer alive, like a Pina regen before Pina has even generated. Like we're not even there at Pina's prime, and we're already building a second Pina. Like, we don't need that. But this Copa del Reina is, I mean, I do love it. I do treat it like the Copa del Rey. Like, again, people talk about Lionel Messi till the sun comes down, and the best moment of Messi's career is in a Copa del Rey final, in my opinion. I think that is the moment of all moments. And I think that Copa del Reys are where Alexia has shined in, 10 of those 12. I think Aitana was very good in the Copa del Reina 2 years ago. Like, there is just unbelievable moments for unbelievable players. And again, it's people always say the domestic trophies are a write-off. There will be a time when it's not. And ultimately, last year, it wasn't. They haven't won all of them in a row. Like, there have been teams that cop them in the last 5 years. There have been three different winners in the last 6 years of the Copa del Reina. So it is a trophy that is taken a lot of care from other sides, and that's why they take it serious. Hence why Atleti, who've been kind of meh this season in the Liga F, have showed up and actually ended up getting to the final ahead of a Real Madrid, ahead of a Sociedad, ahead of Tenerife, who I'd argue have all been better than them in the league. But from one final, we will move on to another. We will change countries. We will go to Germany, the DFB Pokal final. Bayern versus VFL, from one domestic treble to another. This was kind of sad, I'll be honest. This one was kind of sad. I think it's just because I do have a soft spot for Alex Popp. And like Alex Popp, look, the commentary was hilarious. I actually thought the commentary was amazing for this game, but the commentary was like, Alex Popp is probably like holding like a sour taste in her mouth after the end of this game. It's like, well, she does have like 12 of these. Like it's not like she has extra like space on her cabinet for another Pokal, but like, look, this game was a perfectly written script for Bayern to keep going, cement the treble. It was a crazy first half, no real good chances. I think Popp kept trying to catch Marmutovic out, but wasn't really on target with any of her shots, and a lot of them were sprayed wide. I think that first chance, when Kerr ran down the line, cut it back to Clara Buhl, who whipped that peach of a ball to Pernilla Harder at the back post. Usually a goal, didn't get over the line, but VFL worked hard. And I think this was interesting watching who was it? I believe it was Lineth Bierenstein, and I forgot who it was on the other side. I think it was Enderman as well, but they were working the flanks. Svenja Huth was doing the work on the other flank, I believe, but Latvine's long shot, the rebound, forced a good parry. Marmutovic, was actually had an amazing game. I actually think Marmutovic showed why she is the Bayern number one keeper, and she does have moments where she does look unbeatable, and this was one of those games where VFL, there was just not enough from VFL to ultimately test Marmutovic in a way that was incredibly meaningful, that would give Marmutovic player of the match for her performances and keeping a clean sheet. But Bierenstein did win, copped a very stonewall contact in the box. There was an offside flag that went up against her, but that could have easily been a penalty. And then the Clara Buhl show began. If you want to take it away.
Well, I mean, Clara, it started off with her, pickpocketing and just taking over that side. And if anything, I mean, Clara Buhl, we talked about it being more so the fact that she doesn't just set up goals, but she makes goals.
Exactly.
And more so she's the one that is going to be the difference maker in these games. So when she gets the ball on that was right hand side, and it's
the left, but it's okay.
The left hand side. This is the problem that we have. Yeah. She's going to set up whoever is there, and the fact that she's able to get how many assists did she get in this game?
I think she's involved in all 4 goals. I think she only gets credited with 1 or 2 assists. But it's what you see. Basically, what you were saying is perfect in the fact that she just creates danger. I don't understand how someone's crosses are so dangerous. It feels like there's she puts like chili on the ball when she's spicing those crosses in. She missed harder with that initial cross.
Yeah.
It was the last play of the half. Like it was, basically found Dalman, who saw Armani at the edge of the box, played Tanikawa, tries the 1-2 with Gwyn. Gwyn tries to thread it back to her, and it was Bjornstein who slides for the ball, definitely makes contact with Tanikawa. Yes, it's soft contact. Yes, it's rough, but that's the game. Yep. It gets a bit of the ball as well. Still unlucky. VAR does its job. The cruelest time to cop a penalty just before the end of the half. Who else? Not Jude Bellingham. Who else? Georgia Stanway. Georgia rifles the pen bottom bins. No chance for Stina Johannes. This is what I thought would be her last goal as a Bayern player as well. So shout out to Stanway for absolutely proving me wrong. We'll get to the Frauen Bundes at some point. But Gwyn played the ball to Tanikawa after the 1-0. Tanikawa was doing some crazy stuff in this game, pissing me off. But this was the agenda. This was the agenda spice. I've been glazing Caruso for the last few games. By the way, Caruso did back me up later in this game, so shout out Ariana. But this beautiful moment where she chests it down, flicks it over herself, squares it back to Harder. Shout out to Camilla Kuva and Linda for stopping this ball on the line. But that moment from Tanikawa, oh my God, if that was an assist, we would be like, if that was like Puteas or someone, like, oh my God, weeks. We'd be talking about that moment for weeks. But she like chest flick. It's beautiful. It's magical Momoko, as the comms called it. The comms was on fire this game.
That's I did love. Really good. That was incredible.
They were like, there was like a little bit of Momoko magic. Plays it to Harder. It was so good. Like it was just like off the dome. It felt like he was nailing everything. But once the half was done, the second half was killing them off. Armani strike. Bull was doing crazy work on the left side, but it was the 60th minute when Magdalena Eriksson played that magnificent cross. It was like Dennis Bergkamp's goal when the ball got swung that way.
Dennis Bergkamp in these comparisons.
I loved it. I mean, he is my favorite Arsenal player all time. So maybe me and your dad should talk more. But Eriksson whips it across, and then Harder, who I don't know how she heads this in from that angle. It's a joke. Gets there ahead of Minga, puts it underneath Johannes. Yes, very much. Yeah, but usually it's Pyle doing it for VFL against Bayern, not Bayern doing it against VFL. But I hate, this is my pet peeve with goalkeepers, when the ball is close to their body and they dive low. Use your leg. You have a leg. Use your leg. I don't know why they dive like that. It makes me so angry. But this goal is amazing for Pernille Harder. I mean, we'll get to what it actually means, but I mean, we'll just sum it up right now. It's a League Cup double 4 times in 4 seasons. Like, it's absolutely insane. And this is the treble in the way where, the game got summed up like straight after the goal. Enderman has a huge chance in front of goal, set up so well by Huth, and she just hesitates. Lets Vigos Dottir get the sliding tackle in. Just so hesitant, no killer instinct from VFL, from a player who's also not going to be at VFL next year. It just sums up every microcosm of a problem. Maybe it's not even micro, it's a macrocosm at this point of all the crises that are like culminating together, that they are just this far behind Bayern in every way. It took another 20 minutes for them to make it 3. Bull skied a long shot, a few inch-wide crossing moments. The ball falls to Tanikawa to prove me wrong at the back post. The cross from the left with Bull and Kerr are too good, and the deflection off Linda just falls at the net. So yeah, Tanikawa setting up chances, Bull creating danger and more goals. So like, it's not an assist, but she is a part of it.
It's a goal contribution.
Yeah, it's exactly. She's involved in every goal. I mean, she's the one who wins the free kick, and then Caruso off the bench, free kick, edge of the box, bang. Oh no, it was Stanway at the edge. Stanway at the edge of the box was fouled, but it was Bull who played it to her. So they're involved in every goal, and I think that Caruso is a freak, and that's just what a final moment. That's the moment that you're going to remember from the game, the 4-0. Yes, you're going to remember Clara Bull running the park on the left side, as she always does, but you're going to remember that Ariana Caruso scored a free kick banger in a DFB Pokal final.
If I'm allowed to jest a bit, I felt like this game was over when I saw the kits. This was like such a swag gap. Like the grey of Wolfsburg
Oh,
with
I've
the
hated
new
this
kit
kit
of
all year.
Bayern. The
But
new kit
if
of
there's
Bayern is
something
so
if there's something
nice.
I'm happy about, the fact that the last round of the Frauen Bundes as well, I never have to see this kit that reminds me. You know
No,
what it
because
reminds me of? It reminds
what?
me of
The
the rain
Barcelona
or
one?
shine. No, the rain or
Oh, no, the
shine.
rain or
The
shine.
city
Yeah,
grey
City
and
third.
green. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
disgusting. Both these kits need to disappear from the Woso Menso zeitgeist. Every time City play in that stupid grey and green kit, we play like trash. Bunny was trash in that kit. I think she played one good game in it, and I saw VFL play one good game in it as well when they beat. I think they beat Leon in the grey, to be fair, but they got
Yeah, I think so,
cooked
yeah.
in their own green. So, but yeah, just a season to not remember.
I'm just looking up the next year's shirt just to make sure that it's
That it's
not as
not grey.
atrocious.
It's just not
Yeah.
grey. I think grey kits need to go. I
I
think
think it might
there
be
is
a
one
light
since
green.
Aitana's grey Tana era. There's been no good grey kits. Like there's
I'm
no
looking
grey
at it.
Tana Bon
I
Matis.
think this is a light green. I think we might be in for something big here.
All
A
right. Well,
light gr
we might have to cop one then. We might have to cop a VFL
oh,
era.
a light
They won't
green.
be as good as they have been before, but at least they will
No,
look
it's
good.
light gray. It is right. It is
Oh
light gray.
my
I
Christ!
lied. I lied. I'm sorry.
Why is
It's horrendous.
maybe they've changed it. So you know how they're called VFL Frauen. Maybe it's
Mm.
VFL Grauen. Maybe that's what they're doing. But
That's
that
terrible.
would make a lot more sense. But we are going to move to the league of the Bunds. We're
Mm.
going to move to the last round. Bayern going invincible, not even 2 years after their Menso go invincible,
Mm.
they've gone invincible themselves. Very underwhelming invincible because, I mean, Hamburg put on
Last minute
quite a
win.
show
Yeah.
in this game, but shout out to Bayern for absolutely weathering the storm. And ultimately, I mean, they looked drunk. They genuinely looked drunk after the Pokal, after
Fair enough.
everything. They've been playing. They knew they'd won the league. They didn't have to win this game. They didn't have to do anything. They just this is kind of a Roma-esque game for
Mm.
Bayern. That's the way I would describe it. But it was Tanikawa going down at the end of this game. Soft again, another penalty. Jesus, do not touch Tanikawa or you will cop a penalty. And who steps up? Who else? I'll say it again. Not Jude Bellingham, it is Georgia Stanway. Georgia Stanway kept her cool, left Paulik without a chance. I mean, look, this is just kills them all. She just kills them all. She's wearing the captain's armband in her last game. This penalty isn't low and hard. This is top right corner.
Yeah.
This is what a serve. Like, we are going to be talking about Stanway's Bayern era as her prime. It is just her prime. She was good for
Well, but
us.
she still has time at Arsenal. Hold up.
Waffle.
Hold up.
She'll be good at Arsenal. I just think there'll be too many players where it won't be her team
But
fully.
she's
It just won't.
27. She's
Yeah.
27. I see her at 5 years at Arsenal.
Oh,
Easy.
of course. There is a potential for Georgia Stanway to be the best player at Arsenal next season. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility. I'm just saying that there are so many players in that team where she will have to play a role. She won't be given the luxury to just play this Georgia Stanway
But don't
role
you
at
think that she's
Bayern.
been playing a role like for Bayern, especially this season? You talked about the
Oh,
quarterback role. Like that's not her
do you
traditional.
okay? Do you think she gets? I don't think she gets 60% of the goal contributions she gets for Bayern against the WSL.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree, but
yeah.
I don't know where we're going to play her because she did for City. So how are we
Yeah,
going to play her? Are
true.
we going
That's
to play her
true.
further up? Like,
I do think she will be better for Arsenal than she was for us. I think that she
that's
was still
crazy.
young.
Then she
Was
was your
still
young player of the year. Like how many
no,
times? She's
but
in the
she was still
PFA.
young. She was still an unpolished player. She was fantastic in that run. She was an amazing player for us. I'm not
Mm,
saying she won't be. She is coming back the immaculate product that she
yeah,
is.
true.
There is a very real possibility that I can be proven wrong, and then next year we're talking about Arsenal winning the league and Georgia Stanway's player of the season. That's a real possibility. I just think with Mariona, with Little, that's probably the three in midfield. How
Yeah.
you manage who's in the 10, I think this is the chance for
I
Mariona
don't
to
think Little
actually be in
starts.
the
I don't
10.
think Little
But
starts.
again, you're talking about Little not starting. You're
Russo,
saying it's
Mariona, and
Russo in the
Stanway.
10, Mariona, Stanway, and that's, I mean, again, Little will get rotated in 4 games. She doesn't have to play week in, week out. Whether that mix works properly, it probably will. It just means she's further back and she doesn't really contribute to goals. She can play the Declan Rice role if that's
Yeah,
what you really need
yeah.
her to be. But I just think her season, I think we will talk about this specific season in a way that's more conducive to the fact of why I say it's a prime, in the sense of that, like, just from optics, you will look at the numbers, you'll look at the trophy accumulation, you will look at what she did for Bayern this season, which is absolutely spectacular. 9 goals, 10 assists from midfield, 9 assists in the Frauen Bundes as well. I think she's arguably one of the, like, she could, if they gave her player of the season in the Frauen Bundes, that would have been fine. Obviously, it is either Pernilla Harder or Clara Buhl. Like, it is just those two. They are the two best players, in my opinion. But I think Georgia Stanway probably doesn't get the recognition she deserves. She finished second in the assist tally behind Clara Buhl, right? And she's probably a big reason for why Clara Buhl has the freedom anyway to drive along the left side, because she does cover both sides, and it has the ability to give her wingers, whoever they play with, the security that they can go forward and not have to track back immensely quickly, because you just know Georgia Stanway is the safety.
Well, I guess the biggest thing that Georgia Stanway has to improve on is her Champions League form. And I think that with this particular Bayern midfield that we saw in this game, obviously it's rotated, but without Georgia Stanway, there is a hole there. And I trust you in saying Ariana Caruso is an up-and-coming, I would say, attacking midfielder, number 8.
Yeah, the 10. I think she's a 10.
Tanakawa wasn't playing. She will also be immense for their Champions League. But there
also a 10.
There is no 6 there. In my opinion,
True.
I don't see a 6 there. They need a more comprehensive 8, someone who can run up and down the wings.
Korashek, Lamogadek, Ball,
someone like that. Yeah,
get one of the Paris FC midfielders. I think Lamogadek's probably a bit more further forward. I think Korashek is the answer. I would say Sydney Lohman, but they tried that. Like, that's the kind of player that they actually need. I don't know, maybe even go abroad, try somewhere else, try something new, try something different, archetypal, that is going to rival the idea that they are this third in line team. They are the team behind Barca and Lyon. They are the domestic treble winners in their own right. Like, it's not like City or Chelsea or Arsenal are gonna, like, we're not gonna predict next season that any of those 3 teams can win the domestic treble, bar Leggy, like, shilling the quadruple, right? but ultimately Bayern shilling a quadruple is a possibility, right? That's the whole point, is that if they're going to get better, this is how you get better. Yeah. But we will move to their rivals in VFL, who beat Nuremberg 3-1. The Popp farewell, the greatest game of the week. By a mile, this was the best game of the week. The wackiness. I love football, and this game is the reason why. Firstly, the scenes at the start of this game were spectacular. The tifo, the moment, the comms honoring her, everyone knew why they were there, and it was to honor probably the greatest player in the Frauen Bundes history. Like, this is unreal, from Lurch to set up the game in a way that was conducive to basically just her winning this game. It was unreal. It didn't take long. Popp signed it off 13 minutes in, textbook, in front of the crowd, headers the ball in, classic Popp. Beautiful ball from Vettermeyer as well. We've been watching this for years. We've been watching Popp. VFL fans have been watching it for a decade, but we specifically have been watching Popp do this for the better half of a decade. And it's the bow, the Lexi-esque respect that she gets in Germany. Who, again, another player. Who else but Alex Popp? It is truly the end of an era. She got a second one as well. It wasn't hard as well. It wasn't hard as well. It was a crazy free kick into the bottom right corner. Yeah. Like, it's perfect. Like, another amazing moment. Just add it to the folklore. Like, it was just written in the stars. She was always going to play the best on the ground. She's always going to be the best. I cannot believe that free kick. I didn't know that was going to be a part of the story, but I knew she'd get a second. But then the best moment of the game, I love this, by the way, is that, she gets subbed off and they give her a bloody guard of honor. It is just fantastic. Every player gives her a standing ovation. Everyone's clapping her off. The Bierenstein, the GOAT comes on for the GOAT. And then what is she doing? Straight onto the bench, and her own staff have handed her a fucking beer to drink on the sidelines. I love football. I love her so much. She took it. She's drinking a bloody Heineken on the side while watching, like, she's just having a day out at the Bunds, like that's what we would be doing if we lived in Wolfsburg. Sure. But Nuremberg did score. Who scored?
The best goal that you will see
all season. That we've left the best goal of the year till the last game.
You look at like FootMob, you'll be like, who scored this goal? And then you scroll and you see that the goalkeeper scored this goal. Incredible.
The best goal of all time.
Amazing. Incredible. This is also the most Wolfsburg conceded goal ever. Like the only way that they would concede after giving Popp guard of honor 15 minutes later, and it's a goalkeeper scoring a goal.
Is this this is a shot, or is it? So this isn't a cross. This isn't a cross. This is a clot. This is a clearance cross, a clearance shot. It's a clearance shot.
It was a clearance, definitely. But it reminds me of like when you watch like compilations of like best Premier League goals of all time. This one always comes up.
It's like Asmar Begovic. Asmar Begovic's goal for I forgot who it was. I think it was Everton, but I'm not 100% sure. Someone will correct me. Maybe it's Fulham. Someone, but. Yes, the clot goes in. The goalie has scored. I really think Nuremberg have a chance to save this, but Janu Levels too good. Runs through. Hezi's beautiful. I do love Janu Levels. Always glaze Janu Levels. If in doubt, if you want to do a Benchwarmers impression, it is just talking about Janu Levels, really. But they finished second. A great points tally, 58. But yes, you have been little broed by your rivals in red.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we move on to the Frankfurt...
The other rivals in red.
The other rivals in red. Respecting the fact that VFL finished this season second, even though they beat their tally from last season, which is kind of crazy, and the season before, it's more to do with the teams below them. The first and second was always going to be VFL and Bayern, but the genuine interest that got picked up this season from the Frauen was probably due to the fact that third basically down to sixth was a very interesting tie.
It's a good race.
And I think that Frankfurt, they came out the better here, and I think it was deserved mostly because of the fact of these results against someone like Union Berlin. Other teams have struggled against Union Berlin, but Frankfurt, this game in particular, their best players, the players that they're missing and they're going to miss, stood out in ways that is going to be detrimental.
Unbelievable. We talked about it as a Frankfurt foursome fucking off. There's a fifth player, and that fifth player was player of the match. and the player that was player of the match, that is the fifth player, is going to Union Berlin, the team they're playing against. It was like a direct advertisement. It was like she got 2 goals, 1 assist. Lisanne Gras. She was unbelievable in this game, and she's going to Berlin. It was like a perfect advertisement. It was like, buy me. Oh, if you weren't thinking about it, buy me. But Reuteler, so good. Freigang, very, very good. Mehmeti found Freigang. She drives towards the goal, shapes her body wide, drives it near post. When Freigang does this, right, it pisses me off because you're so good. She's so fucking good. It's just like that is something CBS would get Mbappe doing, and then you see Thierry Henry going like, look at the master world class nature that is Mbappe, because he can shape his body to the right and finish to the left, and she just did it so effortlessly. It was so good, so quick. Way to gain the momentum that they had. I mean, to be fair, shout out to Union Berlin who did ultimately score in this first half. I mean, this was Island. Yeah, they scored. Yeah, I mean, this was that Olympico, wasn't it? It was beautiful, but I don't know what Dawson and Blomqvist were doing at the back post. There wasn't a back post. No one was on the back post. It just went over everyone.
Was it Dawson and Ilestedt as well? It was a Dawson.
Maybe it was Ilestedt. Maybe it was Ilestedt. But it was horrendous. But I know that after Freigang's 1v1, you had Eileen Campbell driving past Ilestedt, so she had a bit of a shocker this game. Altenberg had a shocker this game, and the low drive meant that they were 2-0 up, and then the comeback was on Freigang. And then second half was just momentum shift. They kept going after the 2 goals that they scored. It was 4 unanswered goals from Frankfurt. This goal, Lisanne Groh's goal, this long shot into Kara Bursel. Oh, it was sad. Sad keeper. She was just lacking and makes a big handling error that coughs up the lead. And then Reuteler's really good goal because the clearance from West Ham goat, Amber Tiziak. I mean, she left. There's a reason why Cascarino is there, and it's because of Amber Tiziak's L's like this. This clearance was terrible. Blomqvist plays it to Reuteler. Reuteler smashes it top right bins near post. Fantastic goal. Fantastic Frankfurt. Fantastic attacking display. Poor defensive display. Basically doing what they've done all year. Shout out to Frankfurt for being them in the last game. Similar to Werder Bremen, who, I mean, while have been inconsistent this season, ended with Mulhaus getting a penalty to hold out the top goal scorer in the Bunds, clearing Cerci, clearing harder. Amazing moment. Hoff 0-0 draw. Crazy stuff. I didn't expect that. That was a bit ridiculous. I cannot believe they copped up a draw to who was it? Leipzig, I think it was. They were actually met with quite some adversity, especially on that left side specifically, which is where Shashing, who we've spoken about before, and Nicoline Dudek, the left back for Leipzig, who was very dangerous in stopping Nikki Van Dijk on the right side, not have the influence that she has been having for Hoffenheim in the last month of football. Cerci being nullified by the other side. Just a very good game for Leipzig as well to hold out the lead. But that is all we really have for the Bunds.
I have one more thing. Just a bit of a fun fact. So Essen's relegation. So they drew. They drew, but they needed a win, and the draw actually came from a super sub from Freiburg super sub. She came on, scored in the 86th minute. It was incredible scenes. But this, coupled with Stuttgart and Mainz getting promoted, means that next season will be the first in decades, perhaps ever, without a primarily Woso-focused club in the top tier. There will be 13 men's Bundesliga clubs plus one men's 2 Bundesliga side. And I think that that's pretty mental to think that women's football in Germany has pretty much relied upon teams, and especially in the early stages of Frauen Bundesliga, teams that were primarily Woso focused. Obviously, then we have the Wolfsburgs and we have the Bayerns, and then even more recently we're going to have the Dortmunds. Popp going to Dortmund and rejuvenating or giving life to that project. But it's just very fascinating to me. Is it a death of Frauen Bund's traditional football? Maybe. Is it a bad thing? I think yes, but I also think no. So I think yes, in terms of we need to be focusing on traditional WOSO clubs, focus on women's football, but I think it shows equilibrium. I think that it shows that men's teams and clubs in general are focusing on their women's teams, and that's why they're able to be promoted and able to get the funds in to bring in good players to be promoted.
100%, and there is a very good possibility that Essen and Karl Zeiss are yo-yo clubs. They could potentially go back up. I kind of see. I don't know where Dortmund are. I don't know if they're in Frauen Bundesliga 2
they're
or 3.
They're 6. They're
No, they're 3, but they're the ones, aren't they? Aren't they the ones getting Alex Popp though?
Yeah.
So Alex Popp will bring them up. She will bring them 100
goals.
1,200 goals in a season, and then 800 goals the next season, and then Pele can shush, and then she goes back to the Bunds and returns.
Free season
deal with an option with what is it, an option to coach at the end of it, probably something along those lines. But ultimately she will be the Jurgen Popp. She will do it 100%. But shout out to the Bunds for being just the Bunds this season. Amazing. We've had a lot of fun covering the Bunds, and we rate them so highly. But that is all we have for the Bunds this episode. Now we will go to the last round of the Feminile. The Feminile, I mean, again, no real jeopardy, and the usual suspects, I mean, bar one, pretty much getting it done as they usually do. This was first v last, Roma v Genoa, an interesting game in its own right with, again, more of the same. I mean, this is exactly, if you wrote a script for a Roma game, this is what happens. Dragoni dominates. Dragoni runs, Dragoni fires, Dragoni scores, and she does it twice. It's just so so easy for her to run. I don't understand the first goal specifically where she kind of just ran through no one. She didn't run through everyone.
It was incredible. She
Yeah.
dropped one defender, and then the rest of them just like held back and were like jockeying, waiting for her to do something. And then she shoots. Of course
Please
she
score.
does. Of
Yeah,
course.
please score. It was like a lag. It was like this is why Genoa are being relegated, to be honest. But Harvey had a moment early on in the game, which was not bad, just wide. I feel like Genoa keeper made a few moments, a few saves and a few moments to make sure this wasn't 3-4 or 5-0. But there were two, other than the two long shots that they had, they didn't really mount much of a attacking presence other than a bit of chaos and a bit of hit and hope. But it was Dragoni again, just could not handle her. Moving in the 67th minute on the edge of the box, drops a defender, just like had moment after moment after moment, and then eventually you're going to knock on the door. Eventually you're going to get a second. Pilgrim setting up the I mean, look, I don't know how this doesn't get blocked by any of those Genoa defenders, that ball through, but Dragoni taps it in to the top left corner. Even when Dragoni's off balance, it still goes top bins. And Roma win 55 points. One loss. Crazy team. You've been shilling them all year. You go nuts. This is your moment.
I guess it's just the balance that they have in this side. And we talked about it last week, the Giuliano of it all. I think, yes, we can mention how fantastic she's been. She's been easily the player of the season and one of the star players in Europe. But I look at the balance. This is a team that is the second string side for a Roma side. They obviously rested players. They didn't need to win this
Dragoni,
game. But to me, what most stands out about Roma is they take teams apart so systematically that they imbue their style as much onto the opposition, but it is a style of football that is both traditional in the calcio ball, but also bringing this new age of football into the feminine that I think is going to dominate. I think the teams are going to try and replicate what Roma's done, particularly in midfield, which I think has 100%. been the biggest get in terms of how we've been able to watch this midfield grow into this season.
I mean, the goal next year should be Champions League. They need to be better. That was really disappointing Champions League campaign this season. Great league form. Don't get me wrong. Off the back of the fact that Juve made a run and did very well in the Champions League. Obviously not amazingly well, but I would say B+. I would say Roma was an F in the Champions League. They need to be better. They need to not 100%. Yeah, exactly. Horrendously underperforming for what I thought was a higher level than that. Similar to Inter underperforming in the Femminile. I mean, Como just decided to pack in Inter's last day. 3-0, crazy stuff. Chid's ball, live and well. What's her name? The other one, Nishla. My Lord. What a game. Unbelievable game. But I mean, Robustolini got cooked. I mean, she was clearly the target of this game after last week where we glazed her all game, but they made sure to ensure that she couldn't make up many chances. She did have one ball wide to Tomaselli, who did drive it back and then slipped it past the keeper, but it was offside. I mean, Tomaselli has this other moment in the game where Chids loses the ball. Chids makes her worst mistake of the game. Tomaselli runs into the box, and instead of squaring it, she tries the Arsenal Barcelona memento of this week, which is this horrible angled shot. Like, the whole game week this week was just teams in second place taking dumbass shots from crazy angles. And sure, Arsenal can do it against Liverpool, and sure, Barca can do it against Atleti. But this, when you're 1-0 down, is horrendous. Like, it's so silly. But yes, they I cannot believe that they had, like, they just weren't doing it. Como woke up, and then Inter, I mean, they did what Inter couldn't do, which is score, right? And Nishla picked up that ball, cut it back to Bernardi, who was in the box. This is what Tomaselli should have done. Played it across, slipped it past Ivars Dottir. I didn't know they had a second Icelandic goalie. Who knew? It's
Italian football.
Did they just buy two? Did they just buy? No, but did they just buy two? So they were the ones with Runars Dottir, right? So did they just buy two at the same time and decide, you know what, we're scouting goalies in Iceland. We're scouting goalies in Iceland. Yeah, package, you'll buy one, get one free maybe. Yeah. But Ivars Dottir wasn't particularly amazing. Como doubled their lead 2 minutes before the end of the half. I had to look up how to pronounce this player's name. Wonder kid from Lithuania, Lucia Vitukaitait.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well done.
Slips Nishla in, drove laterally off the right-sided centre-back off Consolini, shot low driven, great strike. Nishla and Chids as this combo has been good all season, and Lucia has also been really solid all season as well. But shout out to Lucia. I want to see more of her next season. I think she might even get picked up if she's people look into her statistics. She really hasn't had a bad game at all, or made any like defensive errors leading to goals, and playing in that midfield hole where you have the potential to do that nearly every game in Calcio ball is quite impressive. But it was Como killing it in the second half early on. More praise for Nishla. Ivas Dottir gets the ball stuck between her feet.
This is incredible.
This is horrendous. Turns it over. I don't understand what she's doing here. This is not Dottir level skill here, by the way. I'm just saying, I expect better from my Dottirs, but Bernardi crosses the ball in. Nishla heads it in. Dottir is not in the goal because she was busy dealing with the nonsense. She ran back to get the ball. It's kind of an insult to call that a run back.
She ran back. The header was going in. She could have stopped it, but she freezes. It was basically
she did a Manu impression basically. I'm waiting for Friesberger to be back in football. We are going to have a Spilsberger episode. I'd love confirmed. But Inter, look, other than Buhega, a few chances, a lot of it was just saved by Capoletti. It was just too easy for them. I know that Buhega probably should have scored her half volley-ish that was sprayed, but ultimately it was just more of Como getting more chances, running, killing the flanks. I mean, this is what happens when you play three at the back. You get caught out on the flanks if you get behind the middle five. That's usually Misley. But shout out to Nishla, shout out to Chids for starting deeper, putting the pressure on the midfield, and then breaking forward once the wingers had the ball. But this was, I don't know. Chisa had a good chance at the end of the game, off target. The cross wasn't really great, to be honest. I didn't think the cross was good enough. Just an incoherent day at the office for Inter Milan.
Unfortunately for Como, they should have played like this for the rest of the season. And I think that's going to be the biggest disappointment. The fact that they've only won 8 games in 22 is not the type of statement season that you want to have as your debut in the Serie A, especially having the players that you have. I mean, Ischl has done it here, but she's done it before. They brought in so many players at the start of the season. We kind of thought that it would take some time, but not a whole season to kind of get going, especially, their biggest result basically being on the last game day. But I don't think that this result takes away from Inter, who have toppled the duopoly of Roma and Juve. This has been an incredible Inter season. 44 points is nothing to scoff at. 23 goal difference is also nothing to scoff at. And I think Inter can only do better, or can only do as much as they can next season, given the fact that we haven't seen many people linked to Inter. And I think that if they don't have players going out, that's good. But I think refreshing in some areas, I'm thinking particularly in midfield and defense, that would give them a bit of impetus going into the Champions League, and so they don't end up like Roma, basically.
But they're not gonna get 44 points next year. If you have Europe, these games are actually good insight into the cracks, the nooks and crannies that they need to fix. Right, you can't be losing games to Como 3-0 and expect to maintain yourself as a European side when Juve, who are an established European side, won't have Europe next year and will go after you and will make sure that Roma don't try and build this monopoly that looks like it's starting, this little dynasty, this Roma dynasty. But I think Juve have every right to go, you know what? We need a post-Jurelli era. We need a striker. We need a player who's going to get us 20 goals a season, and we're going to find it, and we're going to get it. And ultimately, could it be Annelies Rasmussen? Who knows? I don't know.
Is Juve not going to be in Europe? I thought they were in Europe next season.
No. They're in the qual. I think they're qualifiers. No. But there was only two teams from Italy last year.
Yeah, then they're in Europa.
Roma
League, right?
and Juve were in the Champions League. Inter were not.
Then
Napoli weren't. No one else was. If there's the Europa League, that we've heard still no real news about when this Europa League is happening or how it's happening. So maybe Juve will be in Europe, but they might just smack up the Europa League, which would be a great confidence boost for them. But Juve did smack up Parma, but who really cares? Annalise Rasmussen got minutes finally for Juve. She was full on playing the role of Jennifer Lawrence in Passenger. She did not touch the ball. She did not do much early on in this game. Shout out to Godo. Great free kick, put Juve 1 goal up. But Capetta had a few moments, but nothing special. But it was eventually the goal ends up, she scores, is from Kuhlberg's cross to Kambaji. Kambaji comes on for Capetta. And then the initial strike is saved. And who is there to rebound her but Annalise Rasmussen to put in the scraps, put in the goal, her first goal for the old lady of Turin. And this confidence, I mean, the goal led to her confidence build because she played this beautiful ball to Thomas, who rounded the keeper and scored, but she was offside. It was still a really good ball, though. And I think, look, it is her fault. She's got to turn around and play that ball faster. But she's got the ability to do it, to hold up play and play with her back to goal really, really well. But Parma's goal halved the deficit. A terrible corner clearance that fell to Gaia Di Stefano. A great finish, by the way. Edge of the box, volley, rifled in for 2-1. But it was eventually when you throw the kitchen sink, you get caught out, and it was Thomas played through by Bonacea, who gets the sealer for 3-1, ending Juve's slightly very underwhelming season of not, I mean, I do believe we still have the is the Coppa Italia final decided? Do we still have one more trophy to decide? I believe at the end of this month. I think there is one more trophy to go. In the 25th of May, but they are going for that domestic double, and I hope that they do get it so that they can look at their season with a little bit of they're not there.
No, they are there. I'm saying no. I want Roma to win because they're playing against Roma.
Because you want Roma to do the League Cup double, which would be amazing. But I want Juve to have the domestic cup double so we can start talking about. Like, there is a conversation there. There is like, okay, Juve are still little broing them, but ultimately Roma are resting players for this game. They are making sure that they can go for the League Cup double the same way that we are going to be going for the League Cup double in England. But hopefully this Parma Juve game is basically what they should have been doing more of earlier in the season.
I mean, shout out Rasmussen. I don't even think Courtney Vines had 80 minutes for NC Courage. So I think that that's just in and of itself.
But I don't know if she stays. It's a hard situation.
It's going to either be a Sean Fryer situation where she gets loaned out back to the A-League, or she sticks it. And I think she should stick fat. Like, at some point, we have to send our best players and then they stay there. Like, stay there. Forget about the Central Coast. Who cares about the Central Coast?
We'll talk about the A-League final at some point.
Who cares about them? Like, I know she misses those ketchup bottles at the Central Coast Stadium. Like, I know she misses those 10 goals a season, but at the end of the day, if you want to...
She only did it twice. She's not... There's not much to miss. She was only there for how long? True. I think she knows, like, her and Jacinta Galladabarici are the two Aussies in Winnie Heatley, Scudetto winner. Like, Italy is becoming a little bit of a mainstay for Australian. Obviously. Yeah, Chids as well. Like, it is becoming a place where people feel like it isn't just like mistreatment or like just like you're so completely isolated. Italy is a lovely place to live in. Like, it is a very good place for footballers to just enjoy the breadths of Europe and like also play relatively high quality football. It isn't just about the football. It's the fact that, I don't know, not everyone wants to live in Nantes. Not everyone. It's real. What do you mean? It's real. It is a real thing.
You're a professional footballer. If you wanted to work somewhere nice, get a job in like tech or something.
I tell you now, no Matilda will play for Newcastle. No,
they do. They do right now. There is a Matilda at Newcastle. Torpy's at Newcastle right now. Who? Torpy's at Newcastle right now.
No. But no Matilda. No Matilda. No. But how long do you think she'll be at Newcastle for?
A long time. She's signed.
No.
Yes.
No. She just won't. She just won't.
Okay, so why are there players from Australia at Brighton, Newcastle?
Brighton's a lovely place to live.
Rum.
Yeah, Brum.
No, lovely places. We're offending so many places in the world.
No, but there are places that are destination. There are destination clubs. It is a real thing. But, like, you can want to live in a city.
You can't be like that as a footballer. I'm sorry, you just can't, because if you're going to be like that as a footballer and you're going to be picky, then you're never going to be able to grow. You're never going to be able to be picked by.
But depends how good you. It depends how good you are.
Rasmussen is not good enough to play.
I think Torpy's personally. I think Torpy's better than Newcastle. I think she sees an opportunity to make it to the WSL, and ultimately the yo-yo club situation with the WSL bar LCL is a bit of an issue. And Torpy is probably hoping that she can play well enough in England, that she can get whatever the fiscal reward is, and then potentially move.
Is not the reason though that she wants to move somewhere else. It's not gonna be like, oh, I hate the weather here. Like if you do that,
no. It's not. It's not. I hate the weather. Again, the weather in England sucks. The weather in England sucks everywhere. But Newcastle is so isolated. It's not. Oh
my god, who cares? You have the internet. You have all these things.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same.
You go to London in like a couple hours. Like
a couple hours. It's like 7. It's like going to Sydney to Melbourne. That's how far it is.
It's going to stop the growth. This has been a plague on women's football. I want to go to this club. I want to go to this country because it's easier for me. No, go to the countries. Go to the places where you're going to grow as a footballer.
But it's actually hard. It's actually hard when people
you're doing a job, you get money, and I have to live in Newcastle. Oh my god.
But when you have the choice, if you have the choice between no. If you have the choice between if Newcastle and Como offer you a contract and it's relatively the same, there is one club.
So you start at Newcastle and you'll get benched at Como. Like that's the difference.
True. You know? I agree. There is a football aspect, but there is a human aspect to it as well.
Oh my god, it's a real thing.
They're not just robots. They're not just robots. It's not. It is a real thing. You can say it's a bad argument. It is a real thing. But ultimately, we will probably have to put that in a separate segment. But that is all we have for the Feminile, and that is all we have for the podcast.